Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session. Thursday, May 30th, where we saw a down day across the board, and Ken, software stocks getting crushed particularly hard today. Over to you.
Yeah, we had, Workday, I think it was last week, that didn't have great numbers in the software group, and then Salesforce down more than 20% today. So lots of selling in the software sector, even though we did have, big declines for the market. Interesting to see breadth still slightly positive on the day. So three stocks I want to take a look at. A new Warren Buffett holding that he recently disclosed, Chubb insurance company. Also want to take a look at Intuitive Surgical, which is still trying to clear a flat base here. And finally, hospital operator UHS.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Thanks for that, Ken. We'll get to those stocks, but first, let's take a look at the major indexes. Here's the Nasdaq in the stock market today, down about 1.1% in today's session. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 off about 0.6%. The Dow, as you mentioned, CRM earnings hitting that index as well here, continuing to suffer, down another 0.9% today. Small caps were a bright spot, though, with the Russell 2000 up by about 1% after undercutting the 50-day line yesterday, now back above that level. So Ken, let's get your index level thoughts, starting with the Nasdaq.
Okay, well, the Nasdaq, we see here it is, closed below its 10-day moving average. So we'll watch to see if it's going to eventually, pay a visit to the 21-day exponential here. I got to say, it was even though it was down 1%, looks like volume is going to come in pretty close to what we saw yesterday. So it's unclear if we're going to have a distribution today. But I don't know if I've ever seen a stock with so many huge percentage gainers and so many huge percentage decliners all in one day. You mentioned the selling in the software sector was just really something. CrowdStrike down sharply, Adobe, Palo Alto, Intuit, just broad-based selling, and the IGV ETF that we track, you can see a break of the 200-day moving average. So the market feels a little heavy. I'm sorry?
I said, that looks pretty ugly, down almost 6% today.
Yeah. So just broad-based selling, and the Nasdaq fought a good fight for most of the day, and then we got some afternoon selling and a close near lows. So we'll see what tomorrow brings, but we've got obviously a key reading on inflation that the market is going to have to parse here. And but overall a rough day, but I thought it was impressive that the Nasdaq was holding, for a good portion of the session, and then it just kind of broke down late in the day, but not surprising with all the selling in the software sector.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, key inflation data coming out tomorrow, we could see some action in the 10-year Treasury yield today, down about 1.5%, but prior two sessions saw a lot of gains to the upside. So we're still up quite a bit for the week here in terms of the 10-year yield. So something to watch come tomorrow. And we do know that those small caps are the most interest rate sensitive. So seeing the yields come down, definitely providing a boost to the Russell today.
Definitely gave a boost to the Russell. Like you said, ended with a gain of about 1%. But again, on Tuesday and Wednesday, we're in a shortened week here. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we had about a 16 basis point gain in that 10-year yield, down about 7 basis points today. So gave about half of it back. But we'll see what this personal consumption expenditures index tomorrow shows. I think the last estimate was year-over-year core prices supposed to be up 2.8%. I don't think the market's going to want to see a 2.9 or even a little bit higher than that. But it's just kind of a strange market right now. Like I said, there were a lot of big earnings winners today and a lot of big earnings losers as well. So market feels a little bit suspect here. We've seen some, mild distribution days on the Nasdaq recently, but in the end, with the Nasdaq just below that 10-day moving average, we're still in a power trend, and we're still in a confirmed uptrend here.
Exactly. Yeah. Just a lot of cross currents underneath the surface, no doubt. Yeah. And then here's a look at the S&P 500. So speaking of the 21-day line, we are right at that level for the S&P now. So the bulls definitely want to see a bounce here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We could get it tomorrow. That's what's tricky about this market, because I think you can come up for reasons why the market could be nicely higher tomorrow, but you could also make a case as to why we could see more selling that we've started to see a little bit of this week. So really, it's about kind of watching the action in the leaders. I was going to talk about Microsoft today, because that's making a key test of the 50-day moving average. Decided not to, but when you see some of your big leaders in tech starting to flirt with a violation of a key support level like this normally isn't good for the broad market. So you can see Microsoft caught in that software sell-off today as well.
Most definitely. And let's take a look at some of our breadth measures. Here's QQEW, which is the equal weighted Nasdaq 100 ETF, now below its 50-day line, down 0.4% today, versus the Qs, which were down about 1.1% today. So below, it's mixed messages, right? We're below the 50-day line, but down less than the QQQ. So what's your take of the breadth?
It's just a strange day for the market. When I checked breadth late in the day, we were still positive on the Nasdaq, less than 2-to-1 positive, but we were still pretty close to 3-to-1 positive on the NYSE, which is pretty amazing. But I'm looking at some S&P 500 gainers today, like HP, and retailers like Best Buy and Burlington. So many big earnings gainers on the NYSE kind of helped breadth there, I think.
Yeah. And so here's a look at the RSP bucking the weakness today, up by about 0.5%. Another story today, Ken, was in crypto land. So here's a look at IBIT, one of those crypto ETFs, closing the day up about 2.2%, and arguably actionable for those who want a little crypto exposure.
Yeah, it kind of faded off highs a little bit, but you can see still ended up 2%. This is really what looks like a good handle forming here. So have to respect Bitcoin here. Seeing some names in the Bitcoin space setting up for possible moves higher. I would put IBIT, that we're looking at right now, in that group. See if it can muster a breakout try over that 40 level. I was also watching Coinbase too, which is setting up in a new base. Not ready yet, but it's kind of forming the right side of what we call a cup base here. Back above the 50-day moving average. You can see kind of a pretty nasty reversal today with the broad market, but still watching Coinbase here, the crypto exchange, but still has some base building ahead of it.
It does. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more stocks. Here is Chubb. This is ticker CB, and a Warren Buffett holding.
Yeah, at the annual meeting, the annual shareholder meeting, he finally disclosed. I think it's about a $7 billion stake in Chubb. But this is a nice technical setup here. You can see when the stock gapped up, that was on the Warren Buffett news, and then from that gap up, it's been generally a pretty low volume pullback to the 21-day moving average, and it's retesting the prior buy area. So this one definitely looks like it's still in a buy zone here. And these insurers, they still could work in this market if you're getting a lot of selling in software and technology stocks. I think it makes sense to maybe look at some healthcare, maybe look at some insurers here. So I think CB looks pretty good here after that low volume pullback.
Yeah, some diversity of leadership in the portfolio never hurts. And next on the list, let's check in on ISRG. This is Intuitive Surgical. Off the day's highs, but it's hanging out right around a buy zone and above that round psychological level of 400.
Yeah, this is kind of what we refer to as stalling type action. You can see it tried to break out today over that 400 level again. It closed all the way down near its lows, and volume picked up the pace. So this is the second time, I think, in about 6 trading sessions where Intuitive Surgical has tried to break out here. So no luck yet, but fundamentals are still pretty compelling here for a large cap company like ISRG. Obviously known for their Da Vinci robotic surgical system. Weekly chart shows it's still, in the early stages of trying to break out here. The relative strength line is looking pretty good. So a really nice liquid large cap name that is still showing some relative strength in this market. I think the action today and the action from a few days ago is it's kind of the tricky nature of this market that breakouts really need meaningful institutional buying to fuel a move, and not sure we're seeing that quite yet, and definitely not seeing it in ISRG quite yet.
Okay. Well, let's now go to UHS, a hospital operator, seeing an RS line blue dot on the weekly chart here and a cup with handle breakout, some tight action in that handle on a weekly basis. And we were looking at this one today on IBD Live, but also yesterday as well, came up in our screen. So 2 days in a row of some pretty nice gains here for the stock powering a breakout.
Yeah, and hospitals as a group, they really started moving yesterday, partly after that news from UNH in the Dow about lower Medicaid reimbursements, something to do with hospitals seeing increased traffic. So yesterday looked like a setup day for universal health. I think it was buyable yesterday, and the stock followed through and actually broke out from the cup with handle base today, still in that 5% buy zone here. 2 days in a row of pretty decent volume. So again, don't be married to tech here. We're still in a confirmed uptrend, and tech could still lead, but there was just a lot of heavy volume selling in technology today. So it makes sense to look at some other industry groups and other sectors at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, that breakdown in software is pretty concerning. So we'll have to see if that group can get on the right track and what other buying opportunities are out there in different sectors. So thank you for shedding light on these. All right, everyone. Well, that is it for today's show, but we will be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live, and we hope you join us, investors.com/IBD Live, for all the details on that. It's Friday, so we've got another special guest for you. We have Eric Kroll, co-author of The Life Cycle Trade, returning to the show. Looking forward to his analysis of where we're at in the current market with this relatively new power trend and what we could see from here. So that'll be great to have him on the show and his IPO expertise, because we've got a couple of IPOs that we can look at now. So that'll be good to get his thoughts there too. Okay, everyone, we will see you there in the morning, and then we'll see you back here after the close.